All right, we're back with our last video, changing radians to degrees, degrees to radians. So radians to degrees. So again, we're going to go ahead and times by 180 and divide by pi, because then our pi's will go away. Because radian has a pi, but degree does not. And they want us to change it to degrees. So that means our pi's will cancel. And then even our tens will cancel. Look at that. And or we could just do it with our calculator. Make sure we're doing it right. Let's do the whole thing. 17 times 180 divided by 10. Did you get 306 degrees too? That's a crazy answer, but that's cool. So that's very, very crazy. So 306 degrees. Awesome. The next one now. Okay, so the pi's will cancel, just leaving us with 180 divided by 12. Do you know what that is? Neither do I. Use your calculator. There we go. So we get 15. 15 degrees. Look at that. 15 degrees. Did you get that one? Try the next one on your own before I help you and show you. Again, the pi is canceled, so we times by 180 over pi. The pi is canceled, then we did 180 divided by 12. Okay, so our next one here, our pi's again are going to cancel. And so we're just going to go ahead and do 11 times 180. 11 times 180. And then divide by 15. And our last one is a weird, crazy 132 degrees. There we go. Nice. Okay, our last part now is doing SohCahToa with right triangles and not perfect 30, 60, 90s, but just whatever, 16 degrees or 32 degrees, 47 degrees, hike. So in order to do SohCahToa, you have to know what SohCahToa is. Do you remember? So sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is equal to adjacent. If you don't know these, you need to study and memorize them right now before the test. Else you won't be able to do these problems, right? And tangent is, my toa. And so tangent is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Whoa, that's sine. Sorry. Opposite over TOA, kick my toa. So opposite over adjacent. That's close, but I fixed it. Okay, so again, sine is SOH. So SOH, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So you have to memorize those three relationships in order for you to be able to do these problems, okay? So SOH, CAH, and TOA. Awesome. Okay, there we go. Okay, so then the next step for 27 to 32 is just identify from the angle what the sides are of the right triangle. Well, fun easy part is new color. So fun easy part is hypotenuse, right? And so the hypotenuse is always across from the what? 90-degree angle. So this one we're actually solving with the hypotenuse. This one they give it to you. This one they give it to you. This one too. And this one may not need it. Cool. Next, you want to go and do the adjacent or opposite. Now, those are kind of tricky to remember, but a strategy I kind of made up myself is you can like draw a little stick figure, and then you throw a rock. And so I threw a rock across, and that means this is opposite. That's opposite. That means that he's standing on adjacent. And so this one would be the adjacent side and of our triangle. So important to identify all three of those to even be able to have a standing chance of getting these right. Awesome. Okay, so again, this one, the angle is throwing the rock. So this is opposite, and this is adjacent. This one we don't have the angle, but we have question mark. So that's opposite and hypotenuse. And down here is opposite down here and adjacent. Because we draw a little stick figure and we go, oh, he's throwing the rock. Huh. That's a long arm. And then this is adjacent, running on the surfboard. I'm down here, this is opposite and this is adjacent. but we won't be needing. We could find it using the Pythagorean theorem, but we won't need opposite on that one. This one's opposite, but we won't be needing it. And then this one, they give us the adjacent and opposite, so we won't be needing the hypotenuse on that one. This one we have the x and 15, so we won't need the opposite. This one I didn't even do it because we don't need it, the adjacent. And then down here, they give us the opposite and adjacent, so we won't need the hypotenuse. Make sense? Cool. Okay, so now they're all set up to solve. And so the next thing you need to know is this. To solve these problems, you need to know this kind of a setup, not really a formula, but kind of. It's like a setup. So it's trig of some angle. Stop moving around, smartboard. Being a smart aleck. I gotta push harder. So trig of some angle, cool, is equal to a relationship of some number or side length over some number or side length. So opposite over hypotenuse, or 13 over x, x over 13, and so forth. So that's kind of the formula that we use. A trig, angle, something over something. So let's try that for number 27. So number 27, we have opposite and adjacent. So we got to figure out which one is opposite over adjacent. Ow, did you just stub your toe? That's right, tangent. So we know it's going to be tangent is equal to opposite over adjacent. So tangent of what? Well, they give us the angle. So we can put the angle there. Trig function of the angle. So tangent of 47 is equal to opposite x over adjacent 13. Nice. And now we just want to solve for x. And so right now, that 13 is kind of in the way of being in the bottom there. We've got to solve for x. So how do we do that? Well, right now it's dividing 13, so we want to times 13 to both sides. You times it to one side, then you times it to the other side. And now we're just going to make sure our calculator's in degrees and go ahead and plug it in our calculator. So go to mode, yep, it's in degrees, second quit. So now we're just going to do 13 times tangent of 47 degrees. And that'll help us find that missing side length, the right triangle. That's awesome. So 13.94. Just say round to the nearest tens place now. So 13.94 is what we get for x. 13.94. And so if we're going to round it to the nearest tens place, that 4 would truncate off, and it would just be 13.9. But if it was a 5, it'd round it up to 14, or a 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. It'd round it up to 13.9, round up to 14. But it's a 4, 3, 2, or 1. It's a 4, so that just truncates it off. So x is 13.9. As our answer. Sick. Yeah. Okay, next one, 28. So now we take a look at it. Sorry about that. Okay, so then number 28. So we have an angle. Cool, so there's our angle. And so we don't know what the trig function is yet until we look at what we have for our side lengths. So we have adjacent and we have hypotenuse. So probably not hypotenuse over adjacent, but definitely, yeah, adjacent over hypotenuse. So we'll do an equals, and we'll go ahead and do adjacent over hypotenuse, A over H. And what is adjacent over hypotenuse? Can you remember? Ooh, it smells bad. Do you remember what it is? It's C-A-H, ka. What? Oh, I mean cosine. That's it, cosine. So that's how I kind of memorize it. C-A-H, ka. Maybe like a raven. Ka. Cosine of 32 degrees is equal to something over something. Well, the adjacent is 15. So we put 15 over the hypotenuse, which is x. So we put it over x. And now we have it set up to solve. Nice. And so we got to solve for x, but this time, so over here, x was conveniently on top, right? But this time, it's down below. So we're going to have to get it out of the bottom by doing the same thing, multiplying it to the other side. I like to call it switcheroozy. Switcheroozy! And so we're going to go ahead and switcheroozy. So x is going to come up here, and cosine 32 is going to come up here, down here. And how we do that mathematically is we times x, and we go ahead and times x to both sides. So that gets rid of it over to this side. And then right now cosine is being times, so we'll divide cosine 32 over to this side. So those go ahead and cancel. Those go ahead and cancel over to this side. And so now cosine 32 is on the bottom. And so now that's what x equals. So we'll just show that to you right here. So x is equal to 15 all over cosine 32. And so now we're going to go ahead and plug that in our calculator. There we go. So 15 divided by cosine 32. Bam. So 17.68, which rounds up to 17.7. And so 17.7, we don't have a measurement there, feet or inches or miles or meters. But hopefully we'll in the test. We'll have to see there. And so 17.7 is our answer. Okay, take a look at the next one. Let's do it a little bit faster now if you're kind of getting it. Okay, so we have hypotenuse. Let's see. Ooh, so we don't have opposite, but that was opposite. But what's the other one called? Oh, yeah, adjacent. So we are going to be doing adjacent over hypotenuse, which is cosine. Cool, I got it memorized. You memorized it now. So cosine of the angle, which they give us is 16 degrees, is equal to, they give us adjacent, which is x, over hypotenuse, which is 10. And now all we have to do is multiply, remember, 10 to the other side. And so then we just put that into our calculator now. So 10 times cosine of 16. And if you're kind of getting it and just want to check your answers, 9.6. If you're just checking your answers, you can forward through the video anytime and just check your answers. Cool. Okay, next one is opposite of hypotenuse. And opposite of hypotenuse is sine. Because I'm starting to get the hang of it. So, ooh, this is different. This is tricky. So they tell us we don't know what the angle is. So sine of some angle is equal to, leave a lot of space, leave a lot of space. Use a different color table. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so sine of some angle is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, which they tell us is opposite 28 over hypotenuse, which is 51. And now we're trying to find the angle. That's a little bit different, huh? That's how we find that angle, question mark, is we undo sine to the other side. So what undoes sine? Do you remember? Do you remember? Come on, remember, please. Yeah, sine to the negative 1. So that gets rid of sine, cancels it out. And so if you undo sine on one side, then if you inverse sine on one side, then that's right, you have to inverse sine the other side. So you're going to inverse sine of 28 over 51. And that's going to give us what question mark is, the angle. So now we're going to plug that in our calculator. So that's second sine to get inverse sine of 28 divided by 51. Nailed it! So 33.29 rounds the 9, rounds that 2 up to a 3. So 33.3, hey, we can do this one, even though we don't usually have measurements. It's 33.3 degrees. Okay, last one here. Oh, another one, looking for the angle. I like to leave a space, just to let you know. We're all write your name. I got a blank space, baby. Nice to meet you. Where are you, Ben? I can show you how to do trig functions. What? Go new bold. Thanks. So we're going to do adjacent over hypotenuse is what we're looking at there, a over h. So I'll write that over here. What is a over h? That's right, the raven. Quote the raven. Nevermore. Ka, ka, ka. Cosine, C-A-H, ka. And so we don't know the angle. So we're going to call it question mark. So cosine of theta, or question mark, is equal to, and then what is adjacent over hypotenuse? They gave it to us. It's 24. I left a blank space. I'll write your name. And so 24 over 33. And so now we'll go ahead and inverse cosine. Remember, inverse cosine both sides to solve for the question mark. And so when we do that, we inverse one side, we have to inverse the other side. And so now we're going to do the inverse cosine of 24 over 33. Let's do it. So inverse cosine of 24 divided by 33. There we go. Bam. So we get 43.3. And the reason why is The 4, whoa, that was cool. So the 4, remember that the 4 truncates off, right? Remember? So the 4 rounds, not rounds down, but just truncates off. So we're left with 43.3 is our answer. So we'll write that over here. Don't forget degrees. So 43.3 degrees. Awesome. Okay, last but not least, opposite and adjacent. Is it opposite or adjacent over opposite? Do you remember? Does your toe hurt? That's right. So this one is going to be tangent of some angle is equal to, remember, it's opposite over adjacent is always TOA. So if we have opposite and adjacent, we're going to use tangent. And so they give it to us. It's the opposite 27 over adjacent 21. And then we go ahead and inverse tangent both sides, right? Inverse tangent both sides. And so when you do that, you're going to get the angle. So inverse tangent of 27 over 21. Cool. So now we plug that in our calculator. Finally, we're almost there. So inverse tangent of 27 divided by 21. And that gives us the angle of 52.12, which rounds to just 52.1 degrees. 52.1 degrees. Good job. So thanks for watching this video. Keep watching it over and over. Study hard. You got this. There will be a bonus question. I'll let you know there. Heads up, bonus question. Maybe something like this with some towers and maybe finding the height of this height right here. So just a heads up there with our radio tower, radioactive. Cool. Thanks for watching. Peace out, brothers and sisters. Thanks for watching. Hey, look. It's a comedian. That's not a comedian. It's a bear. And he's wearing a necktie. Well, run, Fozzie.